Hello and welcome. My name is Miriam. I'm a family therapist, and this video is going to be about families where parents are separated and how they can best deal with the coronavirus crisis. Now, all families are worried now. I've made some videos that are general that you can watch here, but blended families and when parents are separated face extra challenges. So first I'm going to describe some of these challenges, and then I'm going to suggest some psychological understandings and ways of thinking and communicating that are going to help you address your family situation and make it as best as can be. So these are the problems I'm seeing. First of all is the issues of where children are going to be. If you've had a routine where there were visitations on particular days, or if you've had parents who live in different locations, different cities, or maybe even different countries, now these arrangements, whatever arrangements you've had, are going to be very difficult to follow. You may not be able to drive or travel to where the other parent is, or you may need to stay self-isolated in one of the houses, even if they're very nearby, and the children, for health and responsibility reason, they're not going to be able to move from one house to the other. So some of them will need to choose, or you will need to choose for them where they're going to stay, and this is not at all easy. It's heartbreaking for the parent who may not be able to see their children in person for a long time, and it could also be difficult for the parent who's got a child in their home 24 hours a day, missing the other parent that's not there. There are also more worries about finance. Maintaining two households in this difficult time is much more difficult than maintaining just the one. And then there's the whole issue of relationship between a parent and their ex. If you're separated and you had a reasonably okay relationship with your ex, this relationship is going to be challenged now by all these extra issues that I'm just mentioning. So my three psychological understandings that I'm going to share with you are not quite right for families where there's domestic violence or abuse. So if you fall into this category, you may need different advice, but for the others, the first psychological understanding is that we all see ourselves from the inside and we see other people from the outside. What do I mean? I mean that we see our feelings, our reasons, our history. We see what's going on in our mind before we take an action. But we don't usually see our behavior or what the outside is seeing very well. So a lot of the times we may, for example, feel angry or irritated and speak in a way that even if the words are all right, the tone of voice isn't. And so we don't even understand sometimes how we are perceived. We only see ourselves from the inside and less from the outside. And then when other people talk to us, we see the outside only, we see their behavior. So when our ex speaks to us, we just see what he's saying and how he's saying it, but we don't know how he's feeling, what the pressures are on him or her, what's going on in their lives. We only see the behavior. So it's very easy for us to fall into this trap when we feel completely justified because we've got our reasons and we fail to see the reasons of the other person. This is a trap we all fall into, and to help with that, you want to imagine that there's a camera outside you watching you as you talk to your ex, or as you email. You want to think that somebody else is reviewing it. What would this other person say? And that will help you appreciate yourself from the outside more, the same way you want to try and appreciate the other person's inside more, by just asking them why they're doing what they're doing, what are they worried about, what their concerns are. Just be curious. I'm not saying you should agree to them and everything that they say, but be curious and open-minded and try and understand your ex from the inside too. And if you are listening to it and can send this video link to your ex, that would be helpful too, because it would be really great if they can do the same process. So we all need to learn how to see ourselves more from the outside and other people more from the inside. Second psychological understanding is that when we are highly emotional, we are not thinking straight. We are not being rational. If we miss our children, if we are scared, if we are worried, we're not really thinking very well. And so there are two things we can do. One is more about general relaxation. If we can do meditation, yoga, exercise, reduce our exposure to media, if that's something we could do, let's do it. But the other thing that can help us is having a wise friend or someone that we trust that is impartial and is going to help us see sense in all this. So how do you know if a friend is good for that purpose? It's the friend that's not going to say yes to everything you suggest. It's the friend that's going to sometimes challenge you and say, hey, you haven't thought about this and you haven't thought about that. The friend who is going to justify you and tell you how awful your ex is and how unreasonable your ex is isn't going to help you in this case. Again, I'm talking about cases where there's no abuse or violence. If you don't have a friend like that, you may want to consider working with a family therapist. I've trained in family therapy because I believe that as a counselor, you need to see the whole picture, not just what your client is telling you and bringing to you. And in my experience, sometimes I meet couples and I meet each one of them separately. First, I hear completely different stories about what happened, about their lives, about whatever's going on, and I sometimes need to pinch myself to remind myself that this is indeed the partner of the person that I've seen before. So there are lots of perspectives here, and you want to ideally work with a family member that you both trust, or you have a friend for yourself that can help you also see things from different perspectives. My third point is that you want to put your children's welfare in the very center of all this. Hopefully they will not need to choose which parent they're going to see for the next month. Hopefully it's not going to be an issue for you, but if it is and they can't choose, you need to let them make this choice if this is possible, and sometimes maybe let go. You want to be clear that you're not using them as messengers and you're not going to get them to ask their other parents for things. You need to solve these things with your ex somehow. If you can't talk properly, use emails, use text. But if you can possibly put all the other issues aside and just concentrate on what it is that your children need, that is going to be best for everyone. And children who feel that they need to choose whom they love more, not necessarily who they want to live with more, but whom they love more, feel completely torn because they know that they are made of both of you. They've got both of your DNAs, and it's not right to ask them to choose. So none of what I'm suggesting is simple or easy to do. This is very hard. We are called here to be our best selves. And I hope you find this useful. If you have, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, whoever can find this useful too. And in the meantime, I wish us all good health, all the very best. Enjoy your children. See you on the next video.